Periscope?
Yeah. Oh. So.
He did follow Scott when he's walking down the street?
No. But I did see Elvis.
They can hear you, know that.
No.
You guys are already live. All right, here we go. All right, hold on a second, everybody. We're going to wait till a few people join, and I'm going to retweet this thing. Hello, everybody. All right, let's see if I can get this thing to work. All right, hey, Chris, hold this phone for just a second.
Someone gave Chris
Chris will run.
I know.
Hi, hello everyone. Say hello to Davey. All right, he's at his desk.
All right, cool. All right, so hey everyone, we're gonna get started here. Actually, maybe we'll wait for a couple more minutes. I see a lot of our fans out there. So hey, first of all, while we're waiting for a few more people to join, I just want to say thanks for all the support from everybody. It's been super awesome to kind of get all the kind of love from everybody out there. We are not broadcasting from a Robin. And by the way, this is Scott talking. So I'm going to actually introduce you to the design team, and we're going to we're going to kind of walk you through some of the user experience process. Let's why don't we go ahead and get started. So first of all, I'm going to introduce you to Chris Nizlatic. Chris is our user experience designer here, and so everything that you love and hate about Nextbit user experience, you can hold Chris responsible. So first of all, Chris, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background? Tell us where you worked before. Tell us why you came to Nextbit, and just tell us a little bit about Chris.
Well, I came to Nextbit because Tom, Mike, and I worked on Android, and we always wanted to make it a little bit more different and a little more user-friendly since I started there working on it. But I worked at Google, obviously, and I spent a lot of time in hardware and software. Started my career at Sony, worked at Samsung, and even Danger.
Danger, wow. And look, check out these shoes here this morning.
My favorite color right now, obviously.
the mint soles, awesome. And so, Chris, outside of work, what do you do? In fact, by the way, somebody's telling you to speak up, so speak up a little bit louder. But what do you do outside of? What do you do outside? What makes you tick?
I'm a runner, and of course, it's San Francisco, so I'm a CrossFit enthusiast.
Yeah. So you ran a marathon last year. How'd you do?
Okay.
All right, perfect. All right, so let me introduce you over here to Ashley. This is Ashley. So for those of you who don't know Ashley, she is our visual designer here at Nextbit. So everything about the look and feel and the animations on the product, this you can either praise or blame Ashley for all that stuff. So Ashley, what's your background? Where are you from? What did you do? How'd you get here?
Well, I got to Nextbit because Scott and I go way back to HTC days, where we worked together from since 3.5 on. And then I moved to the Bay Area a couple of years ago and worked for Beats, and then was part of the Apple acquisition. So I went to work for Apple for a little bit, and then Scott was like, come to Nextbit. And I was like, okay.
Did you ever meet Dr. Dre?
I met him in passing.
Met him in passing. Did you hang with Jimmy?
I wasn't one of those people that was like, take a picture with me. Everyone else was like, take a picture. Yeah, I was in some intense meetings with Jimmy.
Yeah, he can be a little intense, huh? All right. Okay, and then over here we have Kevin. Hey, Kevin, what do you do here at Nextbit?
I'm the product manager here at Nextbit.
Cool, and where were you? What have you done before Nextbit?
Before Nextbit, I was at a startup called Fan TV, and then before that, I was at Amazon for about 5 years. Worked on a bunch of things, Amazon MP3 in particular. So if you like digital music, that was me. Okay,
and then outside of Nextbit, what makes you tick?
Good question. Honestly, I just like eating a lot.
You like eating a lot. You're pretty fit for being such a heavy eater.
I try to go to the gym more often. Chris is inspiring me to go to the gym more often, but he's very diligent about that. So.
All right. And Ashley, we didn't ask you what you do outside. What the heck do you do outside of Nextbit?
So I actually have a ranch.
A ranch?
I have a cow and sheep and dogs and chickens.
All right, so you guys should follow all the team on Twitter because they all actually have a presence. So Ashley actually has a whole other life outside of Nextbit called @Wolfful is her handle. So you can go on there and kind of figure out what she does. And Chris is the real CNES. So find Chris. And Kevin, what's your handle? It's complicated.
It's KTSUCHID It's only 8. It's like the Unix handle for it's only 8.
All right, you're a geek. All right. Okay, so let's start talking about user experience. So Chris, so somebody wants to rub your head. So just rub him for magic here. All right, so Chris, so tell us a little bit about, so Robin, it's a phone that never runs out of space. And the idea is to integrate cloud storage into the operating system. Can you tell me a little bit about kind of, as that kind of idea was kind of born by Mike, our CTO, what are the things that you started thinking about from a user experience perspective and thinking about, okay, how are people going to experience this? How are they going to live with this? And kind of how that drove some of the design decisions that kind of followed.
Well, I'll tell you at a high level, the first thing that I thought of, and that was the home screen. So right now, when you think about cloud storage, you have tons of apps, but they always have to be off. We call it offloaded, but they have to be deleted. So I was thinking, can we make a twist on the Android launcher that actually keeps all your apps in one place, but makes it available for the user at any time?
And why do you feel like you have to actually do some stuff in the launcher? What's the reason for doing stuff in the launcher?
That's the first place everyone goes to, first off.
Yeah, and so, but the launcher also doesn't help you kind of communicate like, oh, something's been offloaded, it's not actually local, or actually restoring the application. It lets you do an animation there to kind of do that sort of stuff.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So can you show me some of the tools that you use here? We got what we have over here.
We have multiple tools.
All right.
We're definitely a creative suite shop, so we use Illustrator, Photoshop, Sketch. We prototype in InVision. That's a really fast tool for us. After Effects is big. But we also do these things called task flows with our engineers. So basically, I'll go into OmniGraffle and take the wireframes and break down a task flow. So for example, one of the things you mentioned that we're doing because we have storage is we're archiving apps. But to archive an app, sometimes you don't want that app offloaded or, archived. So we're going to give users, you guys, control with the ability to pin. So on the home screen, you can see that we have an icon, in this case, Instagram. And you want to keep that from ever being archived. So you can just simply pull down with a gesture, and then that app will be pinned. You'll have a toast, everything will go through, and then if at a later time you actually want to go back, we have this thing called the fab. And the fab is our toolbar. You just tap it and expand it, and then you open it up and you can see a pinned app list view.
And why would people want to look at a pinned app list view, for example?
We want to make it easier for you to see what they are, because at Nextbit, we're not trying to overload the UI with badging or anything on the home screen, so you would never really know that what app has been pinned. So this is a place to look for your pinned apps, but at the same time, manage them.
So I want to give a shout out to, we have a fan in Australia who stayed up till 3 a.m. to watch this. So Chris had better make it good. So let me ask you this. We get a lot of questions around, hey, you know what, I think this is one of the great things about Android is you can load other launchers on there and do other things. Is this going to work with other launchers?
Yes.
How's that going to work?
You're going to see shadow icons in other launchers, and you're going to be able to know if you're using, like, for example, Aviate, that you can actually tap and restore that icon.
Cool. All right. So this is a typical user task flow, and sometimes we'll break this into all the way into wireframes, but this is a tool that you actually use to communicate to engineers kind of what they're going to code up. Is that correct?
That's correct. Next, it facilitates conversations with them, and we can go back and change it on the fly, and you'll see we have marks on almost every piece of paper.
Oh, you mean it's not perfect when you first design it every time?
It's not.
It's fun. People don't know that about the design process, but it's messy.
Yes.
It's like this board over here. You're like, wow, what the heck is going on over there? All right, so Ashley, we have this idea of a cloud phone. Where do you start? Like, as a designer, where do you find your initial inspiration? How do you start the process? What is that like?
Well, I think it kind of goes before all that, creating something that was kind of like a light touch on Android, but had this kind of airy, cloud, ethereal, translucent feel was something I've been wanting to do for a really long time. And so this was
how long, Ashley?
And so this was kind of the opportunity to really do that. And so right from the get-go, we kind of sat down and were like, what? Okay. We were kind of figuring out what direction we wanted to go, like how close we wanted to go to Android, how far did we want to depart from it. So we came up with 3 directions. The initial direction, which we called bold, was really the closest that you would get to material design. And then the second direction was called luminescence. And really that was, kind of an in-between, kind of this translucent but yet still very solid material-ish type design. And then the third direction was called Ether. And Ether was actually the direction that we settled on. And we tried to kind of implement light ways, both in animation and visual design, that really touched on this idea of cloud in more of a visual way. So you'll see that on the launcher where the clouds kind of move in the background really lightly. And then you'll also see that as you pull down on the notification tray and different areas where it kind of blurs out and has this really transparent overlay on top. So the idea was to really try and create this transparent both process and design and keep it in line with this idea of this cloud phone.
Why do you have a feather on here, Ashley?
Well, I love those colors, and what's really awesome about this design process for Robin is that we sat down and we created this original color palette, and what's shipping today really is close to that original palette. Soon you'll see some some different shades of teal and mint and that kind of thing, and that even translated over to the ID where the actual Robin, one of our flagship colors, the mint color, was the original idea, and it's actually shipping like that too, which is kind of a rare thing when you work at a phone company. It tends to change a lot.
It's true. A lot of people don't know this, but this actually was the image boards that we used to actually kick off our design firm that worked on this particular project. So it definitely became the original starting point. So Kevin.
Yes.
Your job is to talk to designers.
Yes.
Your job is to talk to engineers, and your job is to talk to the business team and kind of figure out everything. So can you describe to me what an average day for Kevin is like here at Nextbit?
Average day, I think, is really kind of to your point. They're talking to all those different people. They're working with Chris on a day-to-day basis, going through those wireframes you saw before, thinking it through, thinking about the edge cases, thinking about how we can make things better, and then translating that to engineering too. Figuring out what the requirements are, what they need to get that task done, but also where they have ideas as well. Kind of be that bridge between the process, because everyone here has great inputs, has great ideas, and bring those all things together and create a great product. I mean, it's not always, it sounds easy sometimes, but there's a lot of different things to worry about, and one of my jobs is to worry about those things.
So somebody asked a question here. I think it's a good question.
Good question. All right.
How do you actually know what's feasible? Like, it's one thing for us to kind of dream up ideas all day long, but what is that process like to kind of come up with something that's feasible?
I mean, depends on what we're looking at, but a lot of times this talk to the engineering team, get involved in the process very, very early. When Chris is going through ideas, we're having a brainstorming session, talking to one of our engineers, maybe Davey or Mike, and saying, hey, what do you think about this? And they're like, oh, I can totally say we're going to get that done. Or maybe like, that sounds really bold, but maybe I can look at other apps out there, look at Android, see their launchers, see their phones, and say, hey, they're doing something very similar. Can we do that? And then they get inspired and kind of go from there too. But also we dream big. And I don't think we want to stop away from that too. We want to think about things that might be bold, that might be crazy, and maybe break down the problem and find a solution to it. So my job is to break it down, I think.
Somebody just called you the middleman. That's perfect.
I bring requirements from the
exactly. The middleman's are pretty good. All right. So I want to show, we're going to actually have a cool demo or a cool announcement that Mike is going to make, and just our CTO is going to make in just a second. But let me show you real quickly. This is the original concept video for Robin. So this has not actually been seen outside of Nextbit. But when you're doing kind of a project like this, part of it is actually kind of selling people on the vision of kind of what it can be. And so this is actually the concept video. I'm going to let it run here. So at least that's what I like to use as a typical. Look at this. So there's the original project name. Ether was our internal project name at Nextbit before we actually had a real name of Robin. But I mean, I love to actually go back and look at this and see kind of how much is still the same and how much is different, because obviously things change from the original concept video and the original where you end up on the product. All right, so let me go out here. Let me go find our CTO, Mike. And hey, Mike.
Hey, Scott.
How you doing?
Hey, Periscope fans.
I'm gonna get on this side so we don't have any backlight.
The Nextbit fans.
So I think you have something to show us
I
today,
got something to show.
which I have to say I'm pretty excited about this.
So obviously this is the Nexus 5 running our software. But I got
Everybody's seen that, Mike. Show us something new.
Yeah, so what's new here is I know we promised everyone the M update would be a fast follow-up sometime next year, but I'm going to About Phone and check it out. Android 6.0, latest security patch as of October 1st. I've actually been running this all week and over the weekend. So it's running M.
All right.
Real.
All right, so we're launching with M.
Thanks to the team.
Somebody's telling me to hold my phone better. I'm so sorry. You know, I'm kind of new at this thing. All right. So I got one other thing. So just in terms of, we talked about design process, and one of the things that we're looking at is Harold. Harold, we were working on the notifications with Harold, and he's like, oh, you know what? We need a way to actually see a lot of notifications. So he developed this quick little app here. I love this little app. You need this on your phone here. So this is an app which basically spans the notification thing. So this is actually how you start looking at, like, oh, what's it going to be like to layer stuff? What's it going to be like to look at these kind of translucent apps that we have? And obviously you create these little tools to kind of do that. All right, simple little thing. If it were all that easy, Harold, it'd be great, right? All right, cool. Well, that's it, I think, from us today here in San Francisco. I want to thank everybody for joining.
Thanks, everyone.
Everybody, say goodbye.
Bye.
All right, here we go. Talk to you guys later.